Good morning, everyone. So you can see that today's project, we're going to be blending two different boxes. So kind of what I've taken is a few beads from here, not a whole lot, just mainly the spacer beads and things like that. From here, I'm using some of the carnelian, some of the red barrel beads, and some of the green little turquoise beads, and like I said, some of the carnelian. So here is what I have planned out. We are going to use some of the Stop It beads, and this measures about 7.5 inches. We will be stringing directly onto the lobster and onto the jump ring. I did choose a jump ring that is closed all the way. And this also depends on how, what the length is. I do kind of want to get it down to 7.25 if I can. We are going to be stringing onto 7 strand beading wire. So let me get a length of that out. And I have some other projects I'm going to be doing, so I'm not worried about having too much cut right at the moment. I need myself plenty to work with. And I also need to get out oops, I almost shorted myself because I almost cut it in the wrong place. One more jump ring because we are going to add that flower. So there is our piece. And we're going to clamp off this end. And I'm going to set this aside and this aside. And we're just going to bead string this on. And then we're going to measure how long this is. I am not putting the bead caps on both sides of the carnelian. I'm only using them on one side, and I'm just putting it on kind of randomly. And I appreciate all of you watching these videos. It has helped immensely with getting my videos out. And I think this is probably where I want to add the charm. And I'm going to use a 5mm jump ring. And I just basically, I've got to open it and put the charm on. But I do want the charm to swing freely, and I don't want it to be caught up in the beads. That's why I'm going with a bigger, making sure that is on there good. I want the charm to be able to hang down below that bigger bead. And we're just going to finish stringing. And here's where I'm going to add these big gold spacer beads. I love these spacer beads. They're wonderful. They're great when you have these big, bold beads like this. I'm just going to scoop that whole line up just like that. So that's where we're at. This is our center focal. These beads here. Oops, I dropped him. I thought I went through and I didn't. I want to double check which side I put that bead cap on so that I'm mirroring each side. And the reason why I'm not closing this is because I do want to make sure that I can adjust this, because there's different ways I can change the ends, how this looks, to make this fit the size that I want. You always want to, especially these that have extra holes, make sure you're going through the center of the bead cap. And I want a green bead, turquoise, another bead cap, carnelian, and another turquoise. I'm going to lay this out. And basically I'm going to lay each item right here at the end, like so, because that's how much room those items are going to take up. So we have 6 right to the end of that green bead. See that lobster clasp comes right up to it, so I'm not worried. 6, 7 inches. That'll be good. I'll go with it. I know there's going to be a little bit of play of space that's going to be between there and there. That'll give me my extra 1/4 of an inch. I'm not worried. It'll be good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my bead stopper. You can find these at Bargain Bead Box. I'm going to make a loop, through the bead stopper, through my lobster clasp, back through my bead stopper, and I'm going to make a loop. I don't want it too big, about like that. Just enough to give this room to move. I'm going to take my crimp tubes. I know in the video, Lauren used flat pliers. Well, I know that I can't get it to close with flat pliers, and I know Jody and Wendy's crafting friends could not get hers to close either. You want to put this with the knob up and then put this like in the divot of your crimp pliers with the round part down, and then just squeeze. And you'll see that that pushes that top piece in. And then I go to the end, just like squishing a crimp tube, and then finishing pushing in. Now watch this one not work. And then I'm going to finish by pushing in with a flat part. And then give the tug test. It is not moving. Now I do know that this will go into those beads, but I'm going to trim some of that off. We don't need quite a long tail. I'm going to drop all these beads down, and I'm going to feed my tail up into that. It is wonderful to be able to use that bead stopper finally. Drop them all down. Undo my end. I'm going to make this kind of round. Grab my bead stopper or my stop it bead, put it on, I do want to give this just a, I don't know, if I mash it, I may break that seal, so I'm not going to mash it. It is closed. It's not going to come through there, so I'm not worried. I'm going to go back through my stop it bead. I'm going to go through just a couple of beads here. Grab my tail, and I'm going to pull on both of these. I want to make sure I'm not pulling where the opening is there, and I'm just going to pull this all snug. Get that down in there because I don't want this gap here. So I'm going to push all this down onto the beads. And I want to tug this down. I do kind of want to get away from that bead cap. It is very difficult to deal with that bead cap. So let's get away from that bead cap, guys. Get it to come out this next bead, or just out that bead cap. There we go. That'll make it neater because it's wanting to fight with that bead cap. Much better. Now I can squeeze everything down and it fits snug. I like it. Everything looks good. It's not too tight, not too loose. I'm going to go ahead and close this stop bead up. Again, in the divot, get in there, squish. That one went in real easy. I am going to make sure it's in there all the way. I'm going to give it a tug test. I have that little bit of a space, which I knew I would, which is good because you have these big chunky beads that are going to want to move. And I'm going to, and this is kind of my fault. I felt them slip just as I let go. But we can take care of that. If you have this space and you don't want this, let me show you what we can do. I have here. If you have a space like this, and this is a good teaching time to do this, and you want to cover that space, let me get a couple of these out. And we're going to have a little bit of a teaching time. And I've done this before. We're going to probably, maybe we don't have to open these. And yes, it does add a little bit of length, but, and it doesn't have to be right there. We can put these in right here, and it'll actually look like it's part of the design. So let's do that. I didn't catch it sliding quite quick enough, and that's my fault. I was in a hurry. And now we're just going to crimp these bead covers, the crimp covers, and make them look like a little round bead. And everyone's just going to think that's part of the design. Shove them all the way down that way. And we have space. If I can get these two apart. I probably should have grabbed ones that weren't stuck together, because I don't feel like fiddling with those. And we should have room for one more. If not, it's not really going to be noticeable. No one's going to be looking that close at your bracelet because that part's going to be under your wrist. So let's see if we can get another one in. I don't know if I can. If I can't, that's fine. If I try to, it's going to make it too tight. So we're going to leave it. But really, it's not really noticeable. So let's go ahead and clasp it. So there you go. We fixed a tiny little problem. And it looks adorable. I love it. There you go, guys. Today's bracelet, and I showed you how to fix a problem if that should arise. I felt the wires slip just as I finished clamping down. And so if that ever happens to you, you know how to fix that little issue. And this bracelet is adorable. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I will have some videos up tomorrow where we can do some unboxing. If it gets here, we'll see. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.